Hello everybody and welcome back to the pre-production meeting. This is episode 64, we think. I am Josh Urquhart, your co-host.
And I'm your other co-host, Daniel Kagola.
Welcome back to another week of everything to do with film. Now this podcast, it not only follows our journey through film, but we also talk about what's relevant in the film industry today. Dan, how are we this week?
Dan is great today. How is Josh?
I'm good. Now you've come to the podcast a day before shooting.
Yeah,
that's a bit ballsy of you.
I did this with the last project I was working on.
Yeah,
the action film. We did a pod the day before.
We did. But this time you're directing.
Yeah, why do I keep doing this to myself?
I don't know.
Not directing. I love directing. Why do I keep doing a podcast?
Why do I keep making movies? You know,
I'm done. This is actually my last.
Oh wow, this is a goodbye episode.
Yeah,
right. So you're back here a day before. That's, like I said, ballsy of you. How are you feeling?
Yeah. No, I'm, as always, in somewhat nervous anticipation, but
yeah,
I feel mostly prepared. There's a few little extra things I want to do tonight, just to make sure I'm, ready for tomorrow.
Yep.
Like I'm gonna, do the usual stuff, pack my car, so I don't have to worry about it. Cause
as you do, imagine you don't.
Yeah. No, but like, you know what I mean? Like sometimes you just leave it to the next day and you're like, oh, and then you forget that one thing you need.
Of course.
And it's an early wake up. It's a 4:30 wake up.
Ooh.
Yeah. Cause I want to get there a little bit early and just suss out the location.
Yeah, of course, man. Where are you shooting?
Yeah, so we're filming at Irrawong Falls.
Yeah, nice. What drew you to Irrawong Falls? Sorry.
No, it's all right. No, it's a... I told you this story. I've already told this on the podcast, so I'll just skim over it again. But my composer lives near there.
Fantastic.
Showed me the area.
Yeah, cool.
And then also in Uproars. So we found two little areas.
I know that place.
Do you?
No.
As of 30 minutes ago, you
know. 30 minutes
Josh
ago.
has never heard of Uproars, which is actually quite surprising to me because it's quite a popular location to shoot.
Yeah, right. Fantastic.
It's worth going there. There's some nice restaurants and things there.
Yeah?
Too, so.
Whereabouts is it? Like up or down?
Look, I'm the worst at geography. I'm going to get slammed for this, but I think it's north.
Okay. Fair enough. Well, there you go. Uproars. Good stuff.
Yeah.
And how you feeling? How you feeling about it? Are you nervous? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, as I said, there's always a little bit of nervous anticipation, but I feel prepared. As I said, there's a few things I want to prepare tonight.
Yep.
We're just going over the same thing.
We're going over the same thing,
But also, like, I have a shot list figured out. Me and Jackson Saunders is first AD.
No
Shout
way.
out to you, Jackson. Legend.
Fantastic. Yeah.
So he helped me figure out. Like, I gave him a shot list, and then we figured out timings and stuff together. But I want to.
Is he always a first AD?
No, I think he's more camera usually.
Sure.
We needed a first, and we had a few too many people in camera, so we just switched him over.
Cool.
Because it's a music video, there's a few things in terms of coverage that you sort of need to know what you're doing. It's a little bit different to shooting drama, for example, where you just rock up, you know the shots, and then you just cover the whole scene from different angles, and then you find it in the edit. Whereas like a music video, it's like, oh, we need this shot for exactly 5 seconds, and it's a very specific thing, you know? Like, they might be singing a certain lyric or doing a certain action, and that has to be cut with everything else. So it's a lot trickier in that way in terms of every second on screen is a lot more specific than if you're doing a short film or something like that. So because of that, I need to just have the right documents and laid out for me in order to look at that on the day and be like, okay, I know what we need to shoot. So tonight I'm just going to make a shot list that's a little bit more extensive.
Yeah.
Like for each shot, just label, what lyrics are going to be there. So, if I want to do a take where she's, lip syncing the lyrics or whatever, I can have that. And then just to know exactly what section I need. So you're not wasting time as well because like there's something, how many shots? 34 shots, I think, in a day, which is quite a bit. But a lot of them are quick actions because it's a music video.
Cool.
But like, for every shot that you do, you don't want to do the whole 3-minute song. You know what I mean? It's like you might just want a 15-second section.
Yeah.
So just if I have the documents that lay out what we're doing for each section, it just makes it a lot easier. And then I also have a previs that I shot. So I've made a second edit of that. So I'm sending that out to people, sending that to Dave.
Yep.
Just to make sure it's something to refer to on the day and I can be like, all right, we're doing this. And yeah.
What's the main differences between shooting a short film and shooting a music video?
Well, the things I just stated, as in like every second is sort of a lot more crucial, I think. There's other things, like it's easier in the sense that you don't have sound, so you don't have to worry about that. And that's also good as a director because you can yell out actions and, it's going to be muted anyway, so it doesn't really matter. What other differences are there? I mean, I guess you can get a lot more experimental or artistic than you can with a film, because it's like I've ingrained a story into this music video, which is cool. But then
That's awesome. Yeah.
another thing is, because it's only a short amount of time, it's a 3-minute video. You have to try and tell a full story in 3 minutes, which is quite difficult actually.
It is.
And
Good
just figuring
practice.
out, and just figuring out the beats of that story and how, sorry, and how it all pieces together. Like me and Natalia were talking last night, because we had the beginning and the end figured out, but we changed something in the middle, and then that meant that it felt like we took out a story beat and we're like, okay, now we need to replace it with something else. What should that be? And then in those circumstances, you sort of just have to go back to, you know, your knowledge of basic stories, in terms of you have your inciting incident, the beginning, and then you have your middle, which is, you know, your character faces obstacles, things that become more difficult. And then you have your finale when things wrap up, and it's the overall theme, what I want to say with this. So that's kind of how I've structured it. And you have a structure to music songs, you know, you've got the first verse, you've got the chorus, you've got the second verse, the chorus, and then in this sense, there's not really a third chorus, but sometimes there is. It's sort of just like an ending after the second chorus.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of that, like beginning, middle, and end, right? It's like first verse is your first act, second verse is your second act.
Wow.
And then, you know what I mean? Like
that's
it's story,
cool.
It's story structure.
Sets
as
it out
well.
for you.
Works
Yeah,
in that
nice.
sense, so, yeah.
That's cool. What are you preferring? Like now you've kind of dipped your feet. I mean, you haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
But do you prefer? Let's go pre-production wise. Do you prefer the music video pre-production or the drama pre-production?
Well, I'm still more experienced with drama, so that feels a little bit more natural to me. I think I need to get a few more music videos under my belt before I can definitively say.
Yep.
I think narrative, though, in terms of like short films, features, that kind of stuff, that's probably my bread and butter. That's
Yep.
my number one thing. But I love it all. I love anything involving a camera and
Amazing
actors. And
yeah, cool.
yeah.
Mate, that's awesome. I'm
Yeah.
excited for you.
Yeah, and then we got a few other things which I'll talk about later in the progress. You know,
Amazing.
new things coming up with Baron, so that's exciting.
Woo,
Yeah, it's all
baby.
sort of, it was a little bit slow, and then all of a sudden it's just comes together really, really quick. Like
Absolutely.
way quicker than I
That's
thought
how
it
it
would.
happens, man. Unpredictable.
Yep.
That's good, man. Sounds like you've got it all under control.
Yeah, and yourself, Josh?
Yeah, it's been an interesting week.
Yeah.
Look, there's things that pop up out of nowhere that you have to adapt to. Little fires that you have to put out,
Yes.
and you know, as we creep closer to shooting, making sure everybody is on the same page is crucial.
Do you find that there's always those really little things that are just so annoying to figure out?
Yeah.
Like, there are sometimes big
Yes.
issues that get solved quickly.
Yeah,
You're like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
easy. And then there's little things.
Yes, and
Like-
especially like production design wise.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
we haven't really encountered any yet, but those are the kind of little things that I find.
Yeah.
What kind of little things that? do
Yeah,
you
no, I was
find?
just going to say on this music video, there's been such a long back and forth just about literally getting a cutter.
Oh,
Like, you know,
really?
like the negative
Yeah,
field
yeah,
flag.
of course, of course.
It was so much back and forth because I was trying to find a person to borrow one off, and then I messaged a few people and finally found one, and then he's like, it's too big to fit in your car. So I had to
Oh,
ask
wow.
Michael, the AC, if he could pick it up in his
Yeah.
van. It was just like so much back and forth over this one thing.
Over a
We finally
cutter,
got there in the
yeah.
end, but it's like, you know.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, no, I mean, I'm sure I'll encounter something like that, but 100% I get what you mean.
Yeah.
Usually the bigger issues are organized first.
Yeah.
It's the little issues which you don't really
You
think.
never anticipate, and then they
Not at all. And they come out of nowhere.
Yeah, they
and,
sneak up on you.
They do. But it's all about being on your toes, aware at all times. Like, yeah, it's been a more challenging week, I think. But I think everybody that's a part of this project has handled it really well in terms of pre-production wise. So everybody's on the same page. We're going into the shoot confident as ever in about, I would say, just over a month's time. And yeah, I'm just really excited. We have rehearsals tomorrow that start. So we'll do one then, one in July, and then another at the start of August. So everything's in place. It's been a really, really, really productive week as well. I can't even really remember what I told on the podcast last week, but it's been a lot of work, and now I'm kind of in this state where honestly I'm very far ahead of schedule, that my hands are so free that I can handle those little problems that pop up because I'm ahead. I have everything organized. a lot is done. Literally, all that is left for me to do is rehearsals. Then we shoot.
Nice.
I've done all.
It's a weird feeling though, hey,
Yeah.
because you always feel like, do I have more to do?
Of course, and like you don't want to get overconfident, just saying, oh, yeah, I'm done. I can take my foot off the
Yeah.
pedal. It's always making sure that people are on track.
Yeah.
Making sure the heads of departments are doing what they got to do, and are preparing as best as they can.
Yeah.
Like I have meetings. Like I mean, those aren't really anything that I have to do necessarily, but like be there and guide people in the right way. Like like first AD meetings. Art
It's just
department
communicating,
meetings.
isn't it? Making
Yeah,
sure
it
everyone
is.
knows what they're doing, because
Exactly.
sometimes people don't always make it clear that there's a certain thing that they're struggling with. So
Absolutely.
it's good to check in.
Yeah, and like it's such a small crew, and I'm really good mates with everybody that's on it. So everything's coming together. Everything's going really well. I'm honestly
How many
really
people are in your
happy
crew
with it.
roughly?
I think including cast, I think there is about overall. I think there's about 17.
Okay.
Yeah.
Decent size.
I think on
Not massive, but
on
good
set
size.
on set it will be max 16 people at a time.
Yeah.
So, that's on set crew. Not including post crew and stuff.
Yeah,
but,
yeah. I think I had a little more for Baron.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
20, 21.
Yeah, I've tried to do it as minimal as possible. It's a very minimalized shoot.
Yeah.
It's a very minimalized story with a big concept, of course, which I would say the high concept of the structure is the structure of the story. Whereas everything else, I think it needs to be a bit intimate. You know, everybody has to really, I don't know, work together and really love this story. And I feel like the more people you add on, the more people you have to get on board and wrap their heads around what's actually happening. And I feel like we've got a good crew, and it's getting very exciting. So I'll get more into the progress about what's happening with that. But
nice.
I think in the meantime, brother, let's go on to the wrap up of the week.
Let's do it.
All right, what have you seen now? Pre-warning, I'm not saying anything. Actually,
Nothing at all?
Actually, you know what? I'll start. I rewatched Despicable Me,
Which one? The first one?
the first one.
Okay, how was
Because
it?
me and Sarah were going to go see the fourth one, and then we couldn't be bothered. So we just stayed at home and rewatched the first one. Bro, it is so good.
The first one's good.
So
From memory, I remember.
I gave it 2.5 the first time that I watched it, right? I rewatched it, and I think I gave it like 4.2 or something like that.
How did that happen?
I don't know. It is so funny. It is so funny.
Yeah.
I did not expect it to be like, oh man, I can't even remember. Did you know it was released in 2010? That is 14 years ago,
Yeah,
mate.
that is crazy.
14 years ago. That is nuts. I was like,
Yeah.
for sure, 2016 and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
no.
2010. I was 10 years old when that came out. I
crazy,
remember
yeah.
going to see that in cinemas.
Yeah, we were the
I don't remember
demographic
being,
for it back then.
brother, I was in primary school.
Yeah.
That is nuts, because I for sure was like, I was in high school when this came out, and I remember going to watch it. But no, I was in primary school.
That's crazy. Yeah.
And the animation holds up as well, like nuts, man. And just like, I thoroughly enjoyed it this second time around, or third, whatever time it is for me watching it. And I just appreciated it a bit more. The jokes, I don't know, man. It's so innocent, so simple and beautiful. It's a great story. I don't know.
Yeah, I really liked it when it first came out too, and then they made it a franchise, and you're like,
yeah, that's true.
I don't think I
on
I think I might have seen the second one, but
now
bother with the others.
on to number 4. But it's like some of these animated films I really connect with,
Yeah.
and then others I don't.
Yeah, that's
And
interesting.
others, like, it's funny because it's actually quite confusing, because most of these movies obviously have the same target audience, yet older people connect to certain stories and then don't connect to some.
Yeah.
I didn't connect with Inside Out
But
at
that
all.
you're also saying that was the sequel, right? It could just be a case of the sequel not being as good. I mean, did you connect with the first one or not really?
Not really. 'Cause,
Okay, I see your point.
I don't really, I don't know. Yet Despicable Me had, I don't know, I guess, no, I was going to say that Despicable Me had universal themes, but so did fucking Inside Out as well.
Yeah.
So it's like really...
But that's like every movie, man. Like some are going to connect with you and others aren't. That's how it is.
Absolutely. And I just, I don't know, some animations I can watch and really enjoy, and others I cringe, because it's obviously so made for a child.
Yeah.
Whereas Despicable Me but it has these jokes, and Steve Carell is just amazing. And
Yeah.
it's like, I don't know, I really loved it. I think if you haven't watched it in a while, definitely give it a rewatch, because it might surprise you, because it definitely did for me. That's for sure. But yeah, I think that's the only movie I've had a pleasure of watching this week. I've been just so busy with work and pre-production stuff.
Yeah.
But now I think I'm gonna have a lot more free time, which is
nice.
which is good. So I get to, watch a bit more stuff. I'm trying to think of some TV shows. That
I
I've
was going to say,
watched
did you watch
recently.
anything else that was interesting?
I started watching The Acolyte.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
I'm like 4 episodes into that. That, gosh,
Not good?
it wasn't, and then it got okay.
Right, okay.
And it's funny because like I'm not destroying it, right? But me, everybody online is like ripping it apart, and it's these incels, and I kid you not, and I'll say this to my last dying breath, no one hates Star Wars more than Star Wars fans. No one hates Star Wars
I'm
more
in
than
two
Star
minds
Wars
about that
fans.
opinion.
Yeah, because you're one of them. So
Excuse me?
you
No,
are one of them. But
hey,
these
listen, I just
guys
want-
hold on to nostalgia
No, but
from the
listen.
original trilogy. Oh, when it goes sold to Disney, so shut up.
Listen, I just want good storytelling.
Yeah.
See, I love The Mandalorian, or the first two seasons
Yeah,
were great.
yeah.
What else? Rogue One was pretty good. Like there
I
are some.
loved Rogue One.
We have
It was
had some
fantastic.
good
Yeah,
Star Wars
yeah.
content, and that's what makes the
We
other stuff
have.
that doesn't work more disappointing.
Did you like Solo?
I thought it was okay.
I thought it was
a
good
little
as
bit
well.
Forgettable, but like fun.
Of course,
fun enough.
100%. I thought it was fun, really fun. Actually.
Yeah, but I'm fine with those movies. It's more
Yeah.
like the disappointments for me are like the Rise of Skywalker. when
Yeah, and
it's
the Last
just-
Jedi.
And it's like very clear that they
Subjective.
didn't have a plan.
Yes,
You know what I
and
mean?
they brought in J.J. Abrams to correct everything that was done before.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, I know you like the Last Jedi, right?
Yeah.
And I would have been a lot more okay with it if they had stuck with Ryan Johnson's vision. But the thing is, they
you mean J.J. Abrams' vision?
no, with Episode 8, because you know how
Right, and
so
but they
JJ
went back to JJ's.
yeah,
Sure.
exactly. Like if
I
they
get
had
that.
just
Sure.
stayed on that course correction that Ryan Johnson did, because it was like sort of. It was quite powerful where he took it in the sense that it was like, Rey or no one kind of
Yes,
thing.
absolutely.
And then they just retconned that and like, actually,
Yes.
no, you're a Palpatine. I'm like, come on, like this is
Okay.
so cheap.
I get that.
I really didn't like that.
And you know what? Taking a while to kind of look back on the Star Wars, like the sequel Star Wars trilogy,
Yeah.
I get a lot of your comments about it because, man, like you think of any trilogy that's perfect. Like, imagine they brought in freaking, I don't know. Imagine they brought in Joss Whedon to do the second Planet of the Apes or the
Yeah.
third Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
That would be 3 directors and just go a whole different direction. And I feel like that they did kind of do that with Ryan Johnson and J.J. Abrams. But I still feel like there's so much good things in stuff like the Clone Wars.
Yeah, there's definitely nuggets of gold there.
Yeah, and what's it called? And Rebels and stuff like
Even
that.
like Kenobi, like there were some great moments in that.
Yeah,
don't
I wasn't
think
the biggest
overall it was
fan.
great, but
Exactly.
there were some great moments.
Some great moments. But what really pisses me off is the majority of these fans aren't fans, and they're just commenting on the wokeness.
Actually, this is a good place to segue into something that we did agree on earlier,
What are we around?
which is Superman, the new Superman.
I was gonna segue into that later on.
Oh, sorry.
Do you want to leave it for later on?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, we'll leave it for the dependent variable.
Yeah, okay. Oh, okay, cool.
Cool. Yes, but what was I saying?
Sorry.
No, don't be. That's all good. The wokeness
Yeah.
of Star Wars.
Yeah. So what's your stance on this?
Okay, so it's these hardcore fans, right? Like these hardcore fans that live and their religion is Star Wars and the Star Wars lore and da. And look, man, here's my take on it: is George Lucas, right? He obviously he sold it to Star Wars, and I guarantee he still has a hand one way or another in these big decisions. Maybe he does, whatever. But these decisions that these people are making, they're made by a group of people, right? And we know the people working on them, especially like Dave Filoni's overseeing things and stuff like that. They're having to run through a couple of these people to make these decisions. Like, I don't know, breaking canon or whatever. These things aren't even shown in movies and TV shows, but written down in books that, certain people read. But when any of these rules are broken, it's like somebody has gone against religion, and these fans are insane. It's like the Snyder cultists, right? There's a section of Star Wars fans that are very much like the Snyder cultists, and they destroy them. They get racist, they get homophobic and stuff like this. Man, I could not give two shits what happens with, if there's, it's just, I don't even want to say, it's like when gay characters show up in Star Wars, or there's, they're putting in different races and stuff like that. And people are complaining.
Yeah.
Is so just get with the time.
Yeah.
Like,
I do agree with that,
man.
because it's like, how many years have we had,
stories change.
Yeah, exactly right. Like, it's
Like-
got to keep up with modern times. We've had stories about, straight white males for centuries.
They're hanging on to nostalgia.
Yeah, it's like,
Like,
it's a fictional world at the end of the day.
It
You can
is.
introduce new things.
God, and if people just watched it with, like, not going in with the mindset of, I'm going to hate this because George Lucas is no longer attached, then maybe Star Wars fans would actually tend to like more stuff. Because that's what I think they're doing. They're holding on to nostalgia.
I think the issue for me, and the issue for some other people, is that sometimes the agenda gets in the way of good storytelling.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
It's
fair,
like,
fair,
you know
fair.
what I mean? We have to push this certain agenda, so we have to, really put it in your face rather than just like naturally have the characters. Because I've seen like, there are some amazing films and shows and whatever about, people, who are in the minority, or, smaller groups, LGBT, whatever you want, that are like, they tell it so naturally and organically. And that does justice to those group of people, rather than trying to force it and then just making it annoy everyone.
Star Wars pun. I like it.
Yeah. So
you're trying to force it.
I think it's, at the end of the day, story trumps all, you know what I mean? You've just got to tell the best story, and I am fine with whatever as long as we get a good story at the end of the day.
Here's the thing though, right? These people complain about it being shoved in their faces, right? But do you really think that these higher-ups or these execs, these creatives, are really just implementing these little bits of, in quotations, wokeness, right, to look better? I don't think they are, because they know if it comes across like this, they're going to be hated on in social media, because they know that people hate it being forced down their throats. So do you really think they then would go ahead and actually do it?
Well, that's kind of a different argument, because it's like, you got to look at the culture of Hollywood and the people who are making films.
Yeah.
It's
It annoys me. Star Wars fans hate Star Wars content.
Yeah, but I also think that's a generalization.
Yes, certain Star Wars fans, and there's a big section of them, which is the majority of them, hate Star Wars content. And
there are definitely people who are more radical, and if you're basing these opinions off what you see online, you've got to understand that online doesn't represent everyone.
Exactly.
It's the people
100%.
like, think when you go on Facebook, right, and you read an article and those people commenting, these people are weird. Like, how often
they are weird, bro. They're like 40-year-olds staying in their basement.
Like, how often do you go on Facebook and leave a massitive rant? I never do. And most people that you'd speak to in real life would never do that. But it's these people who, as you said, live in their basement. They don't have a voice in person, so they go online.
And look, they say, look, we don't hate Star Wars. We just want good stories told. Mate,
well, I just said that.
Yes,
which is true.
including, which I get that argument. Yeah. But sometimes there are these good stories that are being told that people just hate on for no reason.
Yeah, and there's always going to be people that hate on things for regardless. You know what I mean? It's like, as soon as something becomes popular, you just have those group of people that go, actually, it's not that good.
Yeah. Well, stop hanging on to nostalgia. Okay. Yeah, so that's my rant about Star Wars fans hating Star Wars. But overall, I think the Acolyte has brought it back and started not so strong, but it's getting stronger by the week. So,
that's good.
You know what? I don't mind it. That's my review, and that's all I've watched this week. Dan,
Lovely.
What about you?
So I watched only 2 movies this week.
Yep.
So I watched Aliens, which I hadn't seen before, the sequel to Ridley Scott's Alien.
Okay.
And Aliens is directed by James Cameron.
Oh, yeah.
I'm also in anticipation of the new upcoming Alien Romulus movie by Fede Alvarez. So, which I think looks really cool. It looks like they're going back to their horror roots, which I love horror, as you know. So I'm very excited for that. Did you see the trailer?
No, I actually haven't.
Oh, dude.
It's got Isabella Merced in it, doesn't it?
Really?
Apparently.
I didn't spot her.
I think. Maybe.
Yeah.
I might be wrong.
You're a big fan of her, aren't you?
I really am. She's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Up and coming.
Any
She's in the new
particular
Superman movie as well.
Is she?
Yeah, she's playing Hawk Girl.
Oh, okay, true.
Yeah, any particular reason?
Yeah.
She's a good actress. She's an up and coming. She's in that new age of like actors and actresses coming
I get
up
it. It is
and-
kind of exciting to see like the new emerging actors who
It
like
is.
breaks out and starts to make waves.
100%. Yep.
So yeah, Aliens. I found it quite similar to the first one in certain ways, but just on a bigger scale. It's like instead of one alien, there are multiple aliens now.
Nice.
It's a little slow at the start. Like you don't actually see an alien for the first hour. I mean, this is an old movie. A lot of people have probably already seen it, but it was my first time watching it. And yeah, I thought it was good. I enjoyed it. There's not too much else to say. There's a few comparisons you can draw to Avatar, because obviously both are directed by James Cameron. There's mech suits in both of them. There's the whole theme of somebody trying to take over the alien planet in order for their own greed, own corporate greed, and that kind of stuff. So yeah, no, I enjoyed it. Good action movie. Sigourney Weaver's awesome. She's a great leading star in action films. I gave that one 4 stars.
Nice.
And then the other movie I watched was a recommendation from Lockie, actually.
Really?
Yeah, so it's a war movie called Son of Saul.
Why don't you recommend me movies, Lockie? God. All I do, the amount of love I have for you, and you can't even return any.
I'm going to read out the synopsis.
Yes.
First. So it's directed by, hopefully I say this right,
Yep.
Laszlo Nemes.
Laszlo and Nemes.
Yeah. So
Never heard of him.
in the horror of 1944 Auschwitz, a prisoner forced to burn the corpses of his own people finds moral survival, trying to save from the flames the body of a boy he takes for his son.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and it's the way it's filmed is amazing. Like the camera kind of follows him the whole time, like sticks really close to him, and it's like shallow depth of field. So you feel like you're with him, like you feel like you are him almost. It's almost like in a video game, like a third-person video game, when you're like the perspective of the
like
the
Birdman?
main character, sort of, but like
Not third person.
well, obviously not one take style.
Okay, yeah.
There are cuts, but it's like there are shots that go for a long time, like a couple minutes, or
Nice,
30
amazing.
seconds or whatever.
Yeah.
And especially in this context, you know, in World War II, it really puts you into that perspective. And it's similar to my review of, what's it called? What's that movie, the war movie that got Oscar buzz that I was talking about? With the good sound
Zone
design.
of Interest?
Yeah, that one. The implications of, you know, what you hear and what you see off screen are at times more powerful than what you actually do see.
Okay.
Or like because of the shallow depth of field, you might you see like a person get dragged by, but it's blurry. But that is like as powerful of an image as if they just showed, you know, straight up a dead person. You
Absolutely.
know what I mean?
Yep.
And that is the power of filmmaking, like what you can imply and what you show to create a certain effect and show the atrocity of war, really.
Of course.
So yeah, that was really good. And it was his directorial debut as well.
When was it made?
Let me
say
check
so?
the year. And it
That
screened
sounds
at Cannes as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's 2015.
Is it international?
Yeah, I think it's Hungarian or
Okay,
something
right.
like that. But yeah, so it was good. Really
Lockie,
well made.
recommend me a film and I'll watch it.
You don't
And
like
I
war films,
will-
because when he recommended it, I was
really.
like, "Oh, war film." But then I watched it; it's different to
Okay.
the usual war film.
Alright,
I did
yeah,
quite
yeah,
like
yeah,
it. It was a
yeah,
good
yeah.
recommendation.
Okay, well, Lockie, recommend me one and I'll watch it and talk about it next pod.
And the casting was really good too. The main actor, there's a photo of him here, but he's just got that character face that really.
Yeah, he looks
puts you
like
in.
Pedro Pascal without a beard.
Yeah, just very stoic, and you just just with such subtleties in his face, you can feel what he's going through. You know what I mean?
Fantastic.
And there's certain ambiguity in the story, but just the right amount that, you know, leaves you thinking about certain things afterwards. So yeah, it was really good. I enjoyed it.
Awesome.
And
Yeah.
great for a directorial debut as well.
Would you give it 4?
4 stars. Yeah.
Nice.
Wait, was it 4? Yeah, 4 stars.
Nice. Cool. Fantastic.
So that's the 2 movies I watched. this
Wow.
week. We don't have too much to
Hey,
say
that's
there.
fair enough. Have you
Yeah.
been watching any TV shows?
I'm catching up on Mr. In Between.
Yes.
So I'm on season 3. I want to talk about that more when I finish it.
You finish it?
But right now, I think it might be my second favorite TV show of all time.
Wow.
Dude, and to say that about an Australian show is
That's
like,
awesome.
Yeah, it's
Fantastic.
It is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like the acting is fantastic. The writing, amazing. Like you can never predict where it's gonna go, but it all feels realistic and it feels like, you know, like what would actually happen, but you still don't predict it at the same time.
Amazing.
And it's funny, it's heartfelt. Oh man, the season 2 finale, like So my favorite band is Bon Iver, and they have this song called The Wolves, and that's like my favorite song of theirs, right? So it's like my favorite song from my favorite album kind of thing. And I was watching the last episode of season 2 of Mr. In Between.
Yep.
And like, you know, instead of, you know how in some shows or movies they go for the emotional climax versus the action climax. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So in some movies like Drive, for example, you get a climax that's a little bit more quiet but more emotional. And then and often there are two different.
Like what about the Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind?
Yeah, from what I can remember, yeah.
Yep.
It's like different types of movies and things,
Sure.
right? But so for this, the end of season 2, they go for the more emotional finale.
Mm-hmm.
And like this scene is so well written, and I'm like, already crying, and then this song
nice.
comes on.
It's your favorite
and
band.
I'm like, oh my
Wow.
god, like this could not get any better. It's just like so well done.
Amazing, brother.
Yeah.
Did you know your band was in it?
No, I didn't expect
Wow.
that at all, and I was already like in love with the show.
Is it like a
and then that
niche
happened.
band? Like you?
Nah,
wouldn't-
they're pretty well known.
Okay, they're pretty
Yeah.
well known. Nice.
But yeah, no, it's just
Fantastic,
I
bro.
just love it, and I've got
It's
to
good to
finish
hear.
this 3rd season,
Yeah, right.
and then I'll speak more about it. But I absolutely love it. It's so good.
Amazing.
Yeah.
You know what? We have a bit of time. What movies are you looking forward to seeing in the next couple of weeks?
Well, as I said, Alien Romulus.
Mhm. Is that in the next couple of weeks?
Oh no, sorry, that's I think a couple months.
Okay, right.
A Quiet Place just came out. I might
Just
go and
came
check
out.
that out.
Yeah,
Are you
yeah,
gonna
for
watch
sure.
it?
100%.
Yeah, nice.
Let's do it.
Deadpool, I'm keen for, obviously.
Of course.
Have you got tickets? I haven't got them yet.
Yeah, I told you. I got tickets the day they came out.
Oh, on
We
the
got-
release day?
Yeah, well, my
What time?
mates.
What time?
The very first session.
Really?
Yeah, it was my
Was
mate's
it during
girlfriend.
the day or what?
Oh no, I think it's at 6:30, or maybe it might not be the first session actually.
Right, okay.
I'm not sure, but my
Where are you
mate's
seeing it?
girlfriend is like the manager. So
At
we
Castle
got
Hill?
tickets. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, Castle Hill.
Yeah,
Yep.
Cool.
I'm excited for that.
Yeah, no, it'll be fun. And I think it could be a defining point for the MCU.
It has to be.
Yeah.
I think it's sink or swim.
Yeah.
I think this it's Deadpool. People have a big expectation on it. It's got to be good.
Okay, but here's a question.
Okay.
Say it's amazing.
Yeah.
Do you think that the MCU could recover from here? Because they might make one amazing movie and then it still goes to trash. Like I feel like because we're 10 years deep, 10 plus years deep now in the MCU,
yeah.
every movie is sort of it's a fight uphill. You know what I
I
mean?
think they will never reach the heights as they
Exactly.
did with the Infinity Saga.
Yeah.
I think they have an opportunity to bring it back, but they got to stop making shows like Agatha. Like who's
Yeah.
Echo? Like
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's oversaturation in the
Yeah.
market, which makes people, especially if those things aren't good, like it's just nothing that we really.
And that's
wanna
one way that they seem to have flopped a little bit recently in terms of the structure of the new movies. Because, before they had the whole thing that worked really well, which is they had the main characters and they
Yeah.
made trilogies for them.
Yeah.
And then they would come together in the team up movies. But now it's like they just give one movie for each random character. And
I
then
know,
there's
yeah,
nothing
and then there's
it's
no
building
follow up.
towards. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just a bit
exactly.
weird.
Like Shang-Chi, like, well, fuck, what's happening with
Yeah,
that?
and then
mate?
you just
Like-
get these random cameos, and the cameos aren't exciting anymore.
Yeah,
It's just-
it's like what you
it just
expect.
all feels a bit flat. And then also because it's so formulaic, like all the movies are, basically the same storytelling more or less.
Yeah,
It's just like
they got to
it's
reinvent the
stale.
wheel a bit, and I
Yeah,
think you
but
know what.
how?
Well, here's the thing. I heard that the Fantastic Four movie, which I think is going to be another defining moment, they're setting it in. It's a period piece.
Yeah, I heard
It's gonna
about
be
that.
set in the 1960s and in an alternate reality, which I think is
Right.
fantastic.
Okay.
And then eventually they'll somehow come over to the MCU. So I think they have an opportunity there to be
Yeah,
very
okay.
distinctive
Yeah.
in their vision
Yeah.
and do it different from what we've seen. Not the typical fucking RE, just the MCU look.
I
you
know.
what I'm
I'm
talking
so sick
about?
of it. Hey, yeah, it looks so
Like,
flat.
Yeah, and it's like
Yeah.
I hope they go different and they do a Matt Reeves or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
Which I don't think they will because it's
They-
Marvel. But
yeah.
I think the closest we've got to that is Ragnarok. And even then he stumbled on the third.
Yeah.
So I'm not too sure. We'll see what happens, but I'm looking forward to that. Let's go into the progress.
Let's do
We
it.
usually don't go into the progress till about an hour in.
Yeah, true. We're speeding through it.
We
today.
are okay. Progress. What's happening?
Okay, so the music video that I'm shooting tomorrow,
Yes.
which I've already spoken
Yep,
about,
yep.
ready for that. It's a 1-day shoot. It's going to be a long day, though. It's like 12 hours.
Yeah,
so Big day,
fantastic.
7 till 7, more or less.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, I'm keen for that. Keen to get in the director's chair again. Right now I'm in my content creation phase. I just want to make as much stuff as possible.
In your
everything.
content era.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's good because like,
Yeah.
I think this year I've just made really good progress as a director, you know?
I think you have as well. I
Yeah.
mean, definitely from an exterior point of view. And you know what? I've noticed. I'm like, you know what, mate? It's all about you got to make stuff.
Exactly.
Because right now I don't have a portfolio. I have 2 movies
Yeah.
I've made. Like what? Like I can't make a show
That's
reel
the
out
thing,
of that.
yeah. Like a lot of people make a movie once every 4 years.
Yeah.
And then it's like, what progress are you making?
You gotta be
really?
consistent.
Like your skills aren't going to improve that much. And then I was having a chat with Lockie about this because he was like, you're better off making like 5 2-minute shorts over the span of a year than, you know, 1 20-minute short.
I agree.
Because like you learn a lot more and you're going to get places a lot quicker, you know? Your skills are just going to go up and up and up. But if you're making shorts or projects at such a slow rate, you're not really improving your skills.
I agree.
Because it's like for directors, right? It's a lot more of a slow burn to improve your skills than it is if you're a DOP or a gaffer, right? You're on set every day learning, getting better, talking to people.
Yeah, for sure.
As a director, it's a slow burn, so I think you have to speed it up as much as you can.
Yeah, and I think you're doing great.
Thank you. Appreciate that. But I want you, like, because I know you have a full-time job and stuff and you don't have that same luxury. And it's the same for someone like Austin as well.
It's not really a full-time job. I can take off time whenever I want.
Yeah, but I want you to be inspired to create more and get more in that community as well, you know? So.
And I think definitely after this one, I do want to, which is why I was going to try my best and was going to be like I want to be more ADs on like people's sets to get to know more people, get involved in the community like you are. Because I'd love to get, like you are, getting paid to do these kind of things would be fucking amazing.
And it's about putting yourself out there, you know, like posting stuff on social media, which you do.
Yeah.
You know, going to events, getting coffee with different people, putting yourself out there as much as you can and making it known, this is who I am, this is what I do, this is my work. And eventually I think you'll get noticed and you'll just get better and better.
Exactly. And like I say to you, man, if you have any opportunities, let me know and I'll be there. So
yeah, of course. Yeah,
100%. And that's what I think I want to definitely, I'm saying out this year with the plan that I have already. And then next year I'm taking a whole different approach to things. So. Yeah.
And I think this year like has gotten me really excited about the future.
Absolutely.
Like I just thought if this is all happened this year, imagine like 5 years from now, you know, like it's an exciting thought.
Exactly. And like, you know, people always aim for the industry, but like Martin and Karina said the other week, we are in the industry now.
Yeah,
so
yeah. Absolutely.
There you go. It's up to us to make our own waves. But yeah, sorry. Continue on with your pre-production.
Yeah, there's not too much else I have to say about the music video. I'll speak about it more when I finish it next week, I think.
What about Baron?
Yes, Baron. So that's exciting. That's something I've been very excited about.
Yep.
So I had a color grading session yesterday with Dave, my DP, and Antonio, who's my colorist.
Yep.
They got along pretty well because it was their first time meeting, and they're both European.
Right.
Dave is French and Antonio is Italian.
Nice.
So they were chatting.
Fantastic.
Dave loves to get really nerdy about all the technical stuff. So he was asking heaps of questions about coloring and stuff, which is really nice to see.
Yeah. Does he color himself?
I think he does a bit, but it's also like, well, now he's got some bigger projects and he needs to know more about that because when you're shooting stuff that's, you know, high level and it's very specific the way you need to shoot it in order for it to be the right footage for a colorist, if that makes sense. Because they were kind of having a debate at one point, which is really interesting actually, about how to expose something, right? And what it comes down to is who has the most control, right? Because the colorist was saying like, oh, you should try and shoot all the elements in your shot, like the main elements at a normal exposure, right? Like a medium gray level exposure. And then Dave was saying, well, the reason the colorist said that is because, you know, if the director comes to the color grade and wants something, changes his mind and wants something darkened or brightened, he has the control, the ability to do that. But then Dave's argument was that, you know, as the DOP, you create the look more in camera and you make those creative decisions earlier. And then when you shoot it, so if something, you know, is meant to be darkened, you shoot it as underexposed and then you give it to the colorist and they grade it. So it gives the colorist less control. It's
two kind of different views on it.
Yeah, because and I realized it was just both of them fighting over control.
Yeah.
'Cause it's like the DOP being like, this is my look, you have to grade it the way I shot it. and the colorist being like, no, expose it so I can change it how I want in the edit, right? And it's like, and then it also comes down to the director, because some directors are super, they change their mind constantly and they want more freedom later on. Yeah. For me, I think I like baking the look into the camera, but I definitely see both points of view. I see both points of view as well.
Yeah,
and absolutely. I think for certain shots, it matters more than others, because sometimes you want that safety net. Like you're trying something a little bit risky, something, especially with for my film, right? Because it's horror.
Yeah.
And funnily enough, it was the first time that I've done horror, first time Dave has done horror, first time Costa's lit horror, and the first time Antonio's graded horror.
Insane.
So for all of us, it was new.
How about your composer? Has he done horror before?
I'm not sure actually. I think he might have.
Okay, right.
He's definitely done like thriller and that kind of stuff. Yeah, so it was kind of a new experience for all of us, which is really exciting.
Awesome, mate.
And you can tell me when you see the final product if you think it sort of pays justice to the.
Am I going to see
genre.
it before the premiere?
Oh, see, this is the thing. I kind of want you guys to see it for the first time at the premiere, just because I think it'll be a good experience.
I think that's how we do it.
Yeah, like you've seen stills, obviously, a little bit of music, but I think the final experience, I think.
Absolutely. I mean, I showed you bits and pieces of Ozma.
Exactly, but I wanted to see the final thing at the end.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I think that's how.
And I'm glad I experienced Ozma in the cinema as well, because something I love about this. So at first, I wasn't like too keen on how the film starts, but now that it's been graded really nicely and Anthony's done an awesome job with the music, the intro is so sick. Like it just puts you into it.
Amazing.
It G's you up. Like, how with Ozma, you've got the start where the music comes in and you've got the sand dunes and you're like, let's go.
Yeah,
it's the same with Baron, but like a horror kind of version of that.
I get goosebumps thinking about it.
Yeah. So, and also the other thing that I was going to speak about with the progress of Baron.
Yep.
Because I said everything's happening really quick.
Yep.
So I said to the sound designers, I need this done by the end of July. They were sort of putting it off a little bit, and then I said, look, I'll give you a little bit more money to make it worth it, because I know we're working with a budget.
Sure.
So I'm like, I'll put a bit more money, but I need it guaranteed done end of July. And then straight away they were like, cool, we can make that work. I'm like, awesome. So I'm expecting them to be like, in a few weeks we'll give you the first pass. Then they emailed me yesterday, I think. Yeah, yesterday. And then they were like, yeah, the first pass will be done tomorrow. I was like, oh my God, that was so speedy.
Wow.
So, which is really, really cool. But they have a whole team working on it.
I'm curious, how did you go about the sound design process? Because I've only ever done it myself, really.
This is something that's been interesting, and I don't know if I'm really doing it the right way, per se. It might be something that I think
there is a right way.
Yeah. But the thing is, I haven't really given them much direction. Like, I literally just gave them the assets.
Yeah.
And I'm letting them go wild with it. And
what assets, though?
Oh, like the AAF.
Right.
Which is like the file that has the
sound effect,
like your timeline in it, so they can go in and change things.
Absolutely. Do they have the vision?
You would have had to do all this with Ozma, right?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
they have the vision, like an MP4.
Okay,
of the,
so
but
they're creating it and having a
they're
look
sound
and
designing it, so they're making the
themselves.
sound effects. But what I did was I sent them a version that has temp sound effects, so they can hear that and be like, "Oh, this is kind of what he wants," and then just create something from scratch.
Fantastic.
Which is what I'm hoping they're doing. I'm hoping they don't like mix in the ones I put in there, because I'll be like, I'll have to tell them like, "Hey, I actually want these made from scratch," because I just sourced them off the internet. Like, they don't sound amazing.
All right. Yeah. Cool.
But
I'll be intrigued to see how that.
Yeah.
out,
So that's coming in tonight,
Yeah.
hopefully. So they said end of today it should be in my inbox. So I'm actually super keen right now. I just really want to hear it, because once I hear that, and I've given them the music too, so they've layered it in.
Oh, the music. That's right.
Yeah, I gave them the music files because that's all done.
What?
So basically,
there you go.
And the color grade, it's more or less done unless I want adjustments. So what I see tonight will be like the final film, basically.
Yeah.
More or less.
First pass.
More or less.
Film.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
And that's what I'm like. Oh,
wow.
It's finally just coming together really quick.
And the sound designers, they're mixing it as well, right?
Yeah. Same company. So it's this company called Mighty Sound.
Okay.
So they did the sound design for the sci-fi feature I've talked about, In Vitro.
Yep.
And then remember Bird Eater? We've talked about Bird Eater, that film by the Afters alumni that's doing quite well at festivals. They mixed that as well.
Fantastic.
So they've got a pretty good resume.
Cool.
And when I saw it in Vitro, I was like, this sounds amazing. So
amazing.
Good candidates.
Sounds amazing.
Sounds mighty.
And you said your music's done.
Yes. Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Oh, I love it. I love it so much.
Yeah.
I think have I spoken about that already?
No, you haven't.
Oh,
That's why I brought it up.
Yeah. Okay. So what happened was, we had a first kind of pass of this music, and then I had a session with Anthony, and then kind of was listening to it again, and then I was like, the final track in the film it just doesn't feel right. It doesn't hit that emotional beat that I'm kind of looking for. So I said to Anthony, look, I need your help a little bit on this, and I found a few samples of other things I might like. I'm like, I want it to be a bit more violin based, something similar to like the Joker soundtrack, something a little bit twisted, sadistic, almost that really like, you know, hits home.
Fantastic Joker.
And he's like, no worries, let me see what I can do for you. And he as well is really quick. Like he's like, I'll get it to you end of next week, and then got it to me like Monday that week instead of like the end of the week.
You got some good people.
Yeah, for sure. Couldn't recommend him enough, Anthony George.
Amazing, yeah.
And he's young as well. He's only like 22, I think.
Nuts.
Yeah, so he's so talented for his age.
How old's Dave again? He's
only 25, I think.
That's
or 26.
Nuts. That's nuts, man.
Yeah, he's
You got some talented up and comers in this industry,
100%,
bro.
yeah. But then I put this final track in, and we made some other adjustments, and I listened to it, and like I teared up listening to and watching the final scene, because it was like, it was so right. And also it felt really heavy on me, because it is quite, like the way it ends is quite emotionally and thematically heavy. And I felt the weight of that.
Nice.
And I was like, oh my God, like,
wow.
This is like
best kind of
moving, you know?
feeling, eh?
Yeah.
I felt that with Ozma every time. I mean, hearing the music is my favorite part of the whole
process.
process.
Dude, I love it too.
The whole process, the music is what brings it all together.
Me too.
I remember hearing Federico's tracks one after another.
Yeah.
I'll be crying at work.
Because that's when it feels like a movie, hey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? Even as well, like, hearing the music and going through that whole process, I have massive respect for the people that do movies without music.
Yes, well, like, that's something interesting about Baron, because I'd watch it and I was like, this film would almost work without music. Yeah. It would work either way, but I decided to do music in the end, and I love the music that's in there, so.
Mate, it sounds amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask to hear a little bit more after the podcast.
Sure.
Just a little section of the music.
I can show you a little bit.
Oh, mate, that's really good.
And then other progress than that is the short film that I'm working with Finn on.
Yes.
We mutually decided to postpone that.
Cool.
So we're going to be shooting that probably end of August, which means August is an even busier month now than we anticipated for all of us, for you, me, and Indy.
Yep, absolutely.
Like we're all directing stuff in August now, which is crazy. It's also my birthday that month. So.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, right. Good stuff, mate.
But yeah, that's it. All right, let's talk about your progress.
Yeah, so my progress I think, like I said, we're now, like, I've finished all kind of physical pre-production on my behalf, like in terms of what a director does. And the directors don't always do the shot list, or don't always, do the storyboarding and stuff like. It's usually.
Do you like to do your shot list?
I do. I do.
Me too.
I think that's how I go about. And like I had endless combos with Connor about this, and the way he likes to work is as well. I do my shot list, and then he formulates an idea in his head whilst I'm doing my shot list, and then we merge ideas.
I like doing it that way too.
Yeah.
Or like you hop on a Zoom call together and
talk
you should
about
have an
it.
idea as a director, and then
exactly
you collaborate it together. Yeah.
Exactly, man. And I'm not sure if that's how it happens later on in the industry, but we're developing our own ways, and I think it's been really good because I truly believe, especially if you're coming to a DOP and you have it may be a bit different if you're making the film with the DOP, like making the story and stuff. But I truly believe like the director, and in my case, and the producer, are the only ones that, can visualize the movie in every sense of a way. And like, I remember writing it and like, I'm visually seeing how everything plays out. Like in my head, I have every movement locked down, the way that they're doing. I created, like I could see the house in my head, how they moved and stuff like that. And I can imagine the camera movement, which is why I think it is important for the director to have an input. You
know what else is super interesting? This is something Dave was saying. You can communicate and, draw diagrams and do all this stuff trying to get on the same page in terms of what you're envisioning, but you can't get it 100% there. You can get it like 90%. And then on the day when you're both looking through the camera, that's when you go, that's when your vision has to align kind of thing, to make that final thing that becomes the reality of what the image is.
And that's why I think, like, I think I got a bit stressed. Not stressed, but I remember talking to Connor about it, and he's like, yeah, you do it. I'm like, are you sure? Like, I want to make sure that they have an input. And I think it's for that reason, because that you find it on set. And obviously he's had a bit more experience than I have. So it's good to have people like that on. But in other aspects of filmmaking, like Federico, for example, like I would like to say that I think we're 99% to 100% on the same page.
That's the other thing. You also find people that you collaborate with
Click
more
with.
efficiently than
Exactly.
others.
And like I said, there's only limited people that I found like that.
Yeah.
But it's very important that you do find your team very early on.
And it's okay to work with different people
No,
and figure out who
absolutely.
you prefer.
It's like a therapist, mate. You're not going to find your therapist straight away. You have to try a couple before you find one. But I 100% agree. And, that's what I've been doing this week. I completely finished the shot list. It was a bit of a process because I finished the shot list. I then marked up that version of the script. Then I did the storyboards with my little pop vinyls. And then during me doing the storyboards, I then found adjustments to the script that I had to make for the from the shot list. And then I remarked that new version of the script. And then I translated everything electronically. And it was a long, long process. Like marking the script takes forever, especially a big script like mine.
Yeah, I forgot about doing that.
Yeah, so it's just I like to mark the script because, like on the day, you can go off the shot list, but the shot list doesn't always tell you when you're going to start and stop your coverage. That's the reason I like to. Other people have different ways, but I like to see. And honestly, on the day, I mean, on Osmo, I kind of completely forgot about it. Like I didn't completely forget about it. But I hardly looked at what's it called? I hardly looked at the marked script. I just went off the shot list. But I think for a movie
it's also kind of like something that continuity should be over.
Absolutely, right. And I just like to get it done like all myself ASAP and then bring everybody on it because I feel like I have the best vision of the story and then everybody kind of gets on board with that. So it was really fun. I love doing the shot list. I love doing the storyboards. And we were originally, last time we chatted, like we were originally going to do previs. And then I chatted to Connor and I chatted to Taha. And we came up with the fact that this movie, a lot of it is about feeling and feeling the blocking. So if we, and this was a combined kind of decision, if we shoot previs and we give the actors the exact movements on what to do, it may affect their performance on day or come rehearsals. Just because this movie is very reliant on feeling out where you're at in the scene and improvising that way. So I was like, okay, that's totally fair. Because I remember I was coming to, I'm like, I'm going to shoot the whole thing. I'm going to get people in, whatever. Yeah. But I went back and I just did my storyboards. And I think that's enough to kind of give them a guidance on the coverage.
Yep.
Then we find the performances on the day.
For this kind of film, I think it's okay.
Absolutely.
I think it's more vital when you're doing something that's a bit more complex.
Yeah.
Not that yours doesn't have its own complexity.
No. But in terms
of
performance,
a lot of just people talking. Or,
exactly. 100%. And we then adjust the coverage to the performance. Yeah. Which I'm really excited about. And I don't know if I
sorry, did you say that you're going to block it out with your actors?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Okay,
but
so you're going to rehearse it.
I'm going to rehearse it, but I'm going to get them to find it. I mean,
that's a good way.
I have a guide, but I want them to find what comes naturally to them.
So you are technically doing previs, but just with the actual actors.
Yes,
that's a good way to do it.
Of course, and that's the way that I do it. And I don't know if I told you, or maybe I didn't, but we're shooting, like we have a long take in this script. We're shooting a whole scene in one go.
Is there a lot of camera movement in it?
Yes, it's all handheld.
Ooh.
So that's why it's the scene of anger. The scene that the scene that embodies anger, the stage of grief. So where it started with the idea of shooting everything handheld and Connor finding the movement on the day. And I think that would just be so impactful. But then I was like, fuck,
it's tough, though. It is tough.
100%. Because
you got to realize that that's 6 whole minutes on screen that everything has to be on point.
Yes.
From your performance to your production design to everything.
But then I split it into 3, so there's going to be 2 hidden cuts.
Okay.
So it's not all on screen. It would be like
a
little bit hidden cut, a little bit hidden cut. And I think the hidden cuts are really good and will help. It's like a Daredevil scene. Yeah, nice. And it's and I actually ran it by Connor because I wasn't sure he was going to be the biggest fan of the idea, but I told Connor and he loved it. Yeah, so as long as he's willing to and happy with it.
Has he done something like that before?
Not sure. But he said, I think it's really good. And he's like, I think it will be also really good for the actors. Yeah. Which, of course, like not having to reset and
it's like a theatre.
Especially for that scene in particular, because it's all about just the chaos of
staying in it.
so that like that stuff like that. I didn't storyboard because I want to find it on the day, and I want Connor to find it on the day. So yeah, it's going to be really exciting, really interesting. We finished the storyboards, finished the shot list.
Sorry, that being said though.
Yep.
Those sometimes more complex shots are the ones that you should try and plan out as much
Yes,
as you
I
can.
mean, well, we have the day before, which, I mean, a lot of these shots we're going to try, you know, practice the day before. I mean, like I said, we have 3 rehearsals. So we have this rehearsal, we have the second rehearsal. So rehearsal tomorrow, which is for acting, July. We have that rehearsal, which is for acting, blocking, whatever. All of this is character workshopping and stuff like that. Then the third rehearsal, Connor comes along. And it's always been the case where we practice the shot list. So we have a whole day put aside to practice the shot list and, you know, practice these movements and whatever we want to kind of do. Then we get on the day and we block it out, make sure everything's fine, then we do it. So that's my kind of process with things. It really depends on what kind of shot we're trying to achieve and stuff like that. But the majority of it, it's a pretty simple movie to shoot. There is quite a few shots, but a lot of them are inserts. So I think altogether we have about 88 shots. We have 33 inserts. And I think that's the film. And a lot of them are on sticks.
What are you saying, 88 plus 33 or including?
Yeah, 88 plus 33.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
Okay.
But a lot of that movie is on sticks. Connor, I think, is lighting 360 degrees.
Nice,
So we don't have to, you know, keep like changing it and stuff like that. I'm sure he'll do adjustments and stuff like that. But then a lot of it is super simple. Like there's a couple dolly shots, but not a lot. So we don't need to spend a lot of time building the tracks. But we're also in one location, and we have 4 entire days to do it. So it's going to be a rush, but I think it will be. I don't think it will be too much of a rush. I think it will be good, and I'm excited for it. It's going to be awesome. We have a really good crew, a really good cast, and it's a very intimate story, and it's going to be a very intimate set. So I'm excited, and that's kind of my progress. We locked in the exterior for the house, which is just the Wollombi General Store, which is like in Wollombi, which is like 5 minutes away from the actual house. So we're going to shoot that. We contacted the owners, and they're okay with us using haze because we're thinking, do we tell them? Do we not tell them? But I'm like, if they come in and they see the house all fucking smoked up, then I think it's best that we tell them. So we check with them. We'll be nervous about that, but they're okay with that. We've locked in the car, hopefully. We're still going through options.
Where'd you get
but
that?
It's Sarah's brother.
No way.
It's just like like an old vintage Merc.
Awesome.
Nothing special. I didn't want anything special. It's like a
Yeah,
dodgy, like white, like busted up little thing.
Yeah,
But
cool.
fingers crossed it all goes well. But right now I feel really confident and on the right track. So
That's good,
the
man.
only thing that kind of stresses me out is the fact that Connor's in Europe at the moment. And he doesn't get back till the 27th of July.
Oh.
So he then has a couple weeks to do everything.
Yeah.
But I've done everything.
Yeah.
So all he needs to do is book equipment. He said that he is going to sort out the camera department, which is why I haven't brought on any of the boys that we usually do in the camera department.
Yeah, that's all right.
So when he gets back, he's like, the reason why he's like, because people have jobs, so especially if you're doing freebies, you want to ask them like when it gets close.
Yeah.
So just in case they get a paid job, then, you know, so.
Wait, wouldn't you want to book them in advance?
Well, that's what we're doing.
Oh.
Like as soon as he gets back, he's going to do that. He's booking the equipment. Yeah, there's just a couple things that he needs to do. We have that last rehearsal, get him like adjusted to like the first AD. I'm having a meeting with my first AD in July, and then when he comes back, she'll do a draft from my meeting, and then when Connor comes back, we'll run it by him, adjust it. That'll be finished. Yeah, that's
Nice.
that's everything. But I'm excited. It's going to be fun.
Good stuff.
Let's do the last segment.
Okay, let's do
So
it.
the last segment, the dependent variable. What are we doing this week?
What are we doing? Talking about movies that we want to adapt or reboot.
Yeah. Or like, yeah. So we talk about movies that we want to that we want to see rebooted, and if we were to adapt or reboot something, what would it be?
Yeah.
Now, there's one that comes to mind for me straight away.
Yeah. Do you want to start? Or do you want me to start?
Yeah, I'll start.
Okay.
Have you seen the movie? Fuck, I forgot what it's called. I think it's called Jumper.
Yes.
With
that's a
Hayden
good
Christensen.
One. Yeah. That's a
So
good
my
choice.
mate showed me the film, and because he loves Anakin Skywalker, loves Hayden Christensen. I watched it, and it wasn't the greatest, but man, the potential.
Yeah.
The potential.
Me and Lockie have had this chat, like movies that were that close to greatness. And I feel like that's one of them. Yeah.
That's definitely one of them that I would love to see get rebooted done. And even Hayden Christensen come back. It was such a cool concept.
Yeah.
I think, was it Samuel Jackson's in that as well? Like it's, I thought it was a great concept. I want to see that get rebooted. What else do I want to see get rebooted? Okay, here's one, and I said we're going to touch on this now. I obviously want to see Superman get rebooted and done well, and I do think that's happening at the moment. And now I bring to you this week, we had a bunch of set photos of Dave and Corin Sweat, the whole cast, because they're shooting outside, and the suit is revealed in all its glory finally. And God, it has been good to see all these haters mix their words and like.
And it's funny because you and me actually had an agreed opinion on this.
Yes, we did.
Which is that I said, look, it's behind the scenes photos, so you can't. People saying, "Oh, the suit looks a bit too baggy." And I'm like, well, it's behind the scenes. They're obviously gonna
touch it up and
make it look a lot better.
But you know what? I then again, if it is baggy, it's baggy. Who gives a fuck? But also, I like the metaphor of he's growing into his own as a superhero.
Yeah,
you know, that's kind of what it's about. You know, he's tussling with with his alien heritage and his human heritage, and not really finding out who he is.
But they release like these BTS photos all the time of costumes that don't look anywhere as good as they look on screen. You know, like it's people have to understand that.
And I don't know. I really like it. I love how vibrant it is. The colors of the suit feels like a comic book come to life. And if anything, I grew up on the Christopher Reeve Superman, so they were always my favorite films growing up. Yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna say we were also talking about how the pendulum swings in terms of superhero films, and like, you know, we've had all these gritty, grungy superhero movies for the past decade, and now I feel like we're going back to some of that more campy, which is like what, you know, comic books were for the longest time. Man, so I love the gritty comic book movies, but I'm also happy for them to change it up a bit.
Give me some happiness.
Give me Superman. Like he's a guy. He's a guy who flies around and saves the day. Like, why does he have to be depressed? You know, that's not what he stands for.
Literally. And
we were saying that. This goes on to what you were saying about people never being happy.
Yes.
I remember when Man of Steel came out and people were like, oh, why is this Superman so sad? Like, why is he like crying about having to kill General Zod and all this stuff? And then now that there's a happy Superman, it looks stupid.
Oh my God. Like, people are never happy, brother.
Yeah, like pick one.
It's these Snyder cultists. Yeah. It's these extremist fans for any franchise, which do my head in.
Snyder cultists.
Bro, they are. And like, bro, the Snyder cultists have put me off Snyder. I was the biggest avid Snyder supporter for the longest time. And I loved the Snyder Cut of Justice League. But just seeing how his fans carry on and how he carries on in these press junkets for like his things coming up, like it just does my head in. But just like I was saying, I grew up on these Christopher Reeve Superman movies, which were so happy, campy, inspiring, nostalgic, and just vibrant and poppy. And I feel like with just these little behind-the-scenes photos we've got, where I feel like we're going down that direction. And all I want is just a scene where Superman is in that revolving door, changing, going around really fast, and we get that John Williams theme as he comes out and flies off. That's all I want.
I think James Gunn will do a good job directing something that's, you know, a little bit more campy, but also still has a little bit of a grounded feel to it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, I think he'll make something that could be really good.
Absolutely.
Like a good modern take on Superman.
God, man, that John Williams theme. Are
they going to bring it back?
Oh, they better, man. I love
surely,
that
like
theme.
at least a hint to it.
It'll make me cry. Yeah. It'll make me cry.
And I think David Corin Sweat is a good option for Superman. He looks good in the suit.
Fantastic.
Very classic Superman.
You know what people were fucking complaining about now? So they released photos of David Corin Sweat in suit, but then they also released photos of him as Clark Kent.
Oh, yeah.
And he had his natural hair, which is curly at the front. They didn't put that as his natural hair. Yeah. And people are going, he looks like a dork. He looks like a nerd.
He's supposed to, yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Oh, bro, these people.
What do you think of the other casting? Like, I think Nicholas Hoult will be great as Lex.
Oh my God, they couldn't have got anybody better. Yeah. I love Nicholas Hoult, man. He's fantastic.
He'll be good.
Rachel Brosnan as Lois Lane. She looks the part, man.
Yeah, I think it's good casting.
They got Meghan Markle's dad from Suits playing Perry White. And Isabella Merced Hawkgirl. Fantastic casting. Just
Have they cast Supergirl? Is it Millie?
yes, they have.
Alcock, or is
Millie Alcock.
Yeah, that's great too.
Amazing. People got to just trust in the process. James Gunn has been doubted before, and he's kicked it out of the park every time. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And then I think I'll finish it off. If I were to direct a reboot or an adaptation, it would be Ozma.
Such a cop-out answer.
What? Hey, it's a book. It's never been done before. If I was to adapt a film, it would be that, because people have only seen what I've made as the proof of concept, with the overall story being so good and unlike any story I've seen. So that's my answers for the Dependent Variable. Dan?
Yeah, nice. I've got a few, but it's funny because I actually haven't seen a bunch of these, but I just feel
Right,
like if they did these, it would be good. So the movie 1984, or it was a book as well. I've read the book. I think it's one of my favorite books ever. It's really, really good.
1984. Okay, what's it about?
It's sort of like a dystopian future. The reason it's so popular is because there's a lot of parallels to today's society, in the sense that like this guy lives in a society where he works for a government organization, and they basically keep tabs on you everywhere. Like they have cameras in your house. They can see what you're doing all the time. Even things like it's just super controlled. So like even in the library, all their books are like, all the information they have stored is very like the way that they want it, kind of thing, very controlled. And then this guy basically starts to see through it, and then starts to want a life that's outside that kind of thing. And then he meets other people who also want the same thing, and they start to form a quiet revolution, basically. Okay. Super, super interesting. And then the way it goes is quite chilling as well.
Cool.
But they did do a movie, I think it was in the 80s, actually, funnily enough.
Right.
It's Roger Deakins is DOP on it. I haven't watched it yet, so I don't know.
Must have been one of his earlier ones then.
Yeah, I have to watch it to actually see if it was any good. But I feel like if they rebooted that and had like Denis Villeneuve directed or something, it could be like really, really, really good. So
good old Denis.
That's something I want to see. I want to see. I haven't actually watched the movie, but a reboot of Uncharted. That's actually good because I really love. Have you seen it?
I have.
Was it shit?
Yeah, bro, I agree.
Yeah. Have you played the game?
It was just so basic. You know what? After that movie, this is the thing, right? I saw the movie and I'm like, fuck. I wonder what this movie would be like if it was good. Yeah. So I went and played the game. I went and played number 4.
Number 4 is such good storytelling.
So, and I mean, you know me in games, bro. I only got like, God, I don't even know. I played a good couple of hours of it. Not a bit more than a couple of hours. I maybe did pull like 10 hours or something into it. But still, fantastic.
It's good though. Like imagine a movie that does justice to that story.
Yeah, not Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah,
what
pretty poor
in
casting.
The casting
it was
is
like
that?
they just said, who's trendy right now, and
we'll chuck Tom Holland in. Oh, no.
Yeah, it's such bad casting. Yeah. Like, what's his name?
I don't know.
The guy who plays Sully that you just said.
Oh,
not Tom
Wahlberg.
Holland. Yeah, Wahlberg. Why did I have a blank just then?
Yeah.
He's not even like close to the age that Sully is supposed to be.
I know.
It's like, it was ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. They should have got like Bryan Cranston or something.
Oh my God,
I think
perfect.
that was the fan casting.
Yeah, well, and they're fucking doing a number 2 as well. It makes no sense.
Are they really?
Yeah, I think it made a bit of money, so.
Okay, next one. The Knights of the Old Republic as a trilogy.
Ooh.
Which I haven't played the games either, but have you seen the cinematics?
I think so.
Dude, I think I've sent them to the group chat before. You might have seen it, but like those cinematic trailers that they release is like some of the best Star Wars content ever. Even though they're just trailers or like 5-10 minute cinematics, but like the lightsaber fights are like everything that the movie should be.
If you send it in the chat, I might have.
And I'm like, oh my God, if we had like they should just make a trilogy of that.
And
I think that comes before.
No, fantastic.
The original trilogy and all that stuff.
Yep.
So as a kid, I absolutely loved Goosebumps books, and I think that's where my love for horror originally started. Did you as well? How good was it?
I love the books, and I love the movie that they made with Jack Black.
Okay, was it good? Was it?
I thought it was good. I mean, I was a bit younger when I watched it.
So here's the thing: like, I imagine it's not really that scary, right?
Yeah.
It's just sort of like fun. But like those movies scared the crap out of me as a kid, and like I almost want like an R18 rated version of some of those stories.
You know they're doing it right. They're doing a TV series of all the Goosebumps.
It's gonna be like for kids, you know, because the books are for kids. But like, I just remember
R-rated
the
Goosebumps.
thrill of
huh?
being so scared reading those as a kid. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? And I want to feel that.
Fair
as an
enough,
adult.
brother. Fair enough.
That would be sick.
Yeah,
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 I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah.
They'll never do it, but it would.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It lives in my head.
Okay.
So.
Oh my God.
I remember reading too many of those as a kid and like not being able to sleep at night.
You mentioned that, and I'm like,
Yeah.
fuck. I reckon they should do Scooby-Doo in live action again.
Yeah,
Reboot
that would be a good
make
reboot.
it
Yeah.
horror, not Ghostbusters horror,
Yeah.
which they're doing these days. Full on horror.
Totally.
Yeah.
If they nailed the vibe of that. Imagine James Gunn did it.
Again.
Yeah. Wait, has he done it before?
He did the first one, first live action. Did you not know that?
No, I heard it and then forgot. That's funny. So it wasn't good, was it? Or,
No.
like, it could just be done better.
The originals?
Yeah.
Oh, it's just so old.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it was very, very like the time that it was made.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And then I would say my sort of dream adaptation, which
Yeah.
it's a video game series,
Yep.
which they made a lot of installments of.
Yep.
The Assassin's Creed.
Yes,
series.
you always talk about
yeah,
that.
yeah. Just so the second game, based on the character Ezio, they made 3 his main game and then like 2 spin-offs that kind of follow his story. That as like a trilogy, a film trilogy, I think would be incredible.
Amazing.
So I haven't even played. I've played the second Ezio game. I haven't played the third one. Revelations, I think it's called.
Wow.
But I need to play the trilogy because it's such a rich world, and like they tried to make the Assassin's Creed movie, but it just wasn't good. So I think they could definitely remake it and just focus on his trilogy and just because the story is that it's about someone in modern time who goes into this machine and then travels back to the past. But I think you could do it in a really effective way with storytelling in the sense that like just start in the past and have the whole first movie just be in the past and don't have any of the future stuff, and then maybe hint at it and then start to lean more into that in like the second and third films. Because I feel like what takes you out of it is like in the Assassin's Creed movie that they made, there's like these cool action scenes and then it will just constantly flash to him just fighting in a machine and it really like takes the stakes out of it. You know what I mean?
Fair enough.
So
That's great. I'd love to see you do it. Assassin's Creed directed by Dan Cogola.
yeah, one day.
Fantastic.
We'll see.
Alrighty, I think we're running out of time now.
Yeah.
So I think we'll wrap it there. That was a great pod.
Yeah.
Pulled it out of our ass. We came in and be like, fuck, what are we going to talk about today?
That's it.
Look at us. All right, good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.
I can't wait to hear about
I'll
it
let you
next
know how
week.
it goes next week.
100%.
And I'll let you know how Baron goes when I listen to it, see it in its
Very
completion.
exciting. Alrighty, guys.
Let's tie a little bow on this episode.
If you want to catch us, we're the Pre-Prod Pod on Instagram and TikTok and the Pre-Production Meeting, YouTube, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. And we'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.